and welcome to the Nutrition by Samantha podcast. I'm your host, Samantha, nutritionist who is on a mission to cut through the nutrition confusion and help you become the healthiest version of you. In this podcast, you'll find expert advice on all things binge and emotional eating, sustainable fat loss, sports nutrition, and all things in between. I hope you leave each episode inspired and empowered to make smarter eating choices. Now, let's get into the episode. Good afternoon, good morning. Welcome back to the podcast. Now, I could get straight into the episode, but I know I have not uploaded in a very, very long time. I'm going to say about 2 months now. So I am back into it. I'm going to try really hard each week to upload a new podcast for you all because I do miss it and I know you find it so valuable and worth your time listening to. So pretty much over the past couple of months, I have just been focusing on getting my life back, I think is probably a good way to say it. When you work for yourself, things can get really hard and, you know, you're responsible for everything in your life and making an income and everything. And it can get really hard. Like, you're responsible for everything and you have no one telling you what to do as well. So when you finish working, you don't just stop working. And it was really, I think work was taking over my whole entire life, where I'd stopped doing anything I had previously enjoyed, or even listening to music I enjoy, or doing things I enjoy in general. Once the day finishes, you'd be thinking about work or working really late and just had no balance. So over the past 2 months, I have been focusing on getting into a really good routine and just being really strict on myself in my routine, having my lunch break after work, switching off and doing things I enjoy. So I've been sleeping a whole lot better. I am way more active and I can way more focused on my nutrition and my lifestyle as well because of that. And I'm feeling really good and really happy now. So I needed to take that time away, or the pressure away from myself for a little while, and not do the podcast. That was one of the things, and also social media. I haven't posted on social media in a month now, and I honestly don't think I've ever gone that long without posting something to social media, like a reel or a photo or something. I have been posting to my Instagram stories, but I haven't been doing anything else. So I am wanting to get back into it all, into like the marketing sort of side of my business more now that I've had that, I want to say break, just that time to sort of get my routine in order and actually enjoy my life a little bit more and find that balance, which I now have. I've been listening to music over podcasts lately, which I've really enjoyed. For those that don't know, which is probably most of you, I don't think I've ever spoken about it, I love Taylor Swift. I love Taylor Swift so much. And I used to always listen to her music, and I have all the CDs. And when I used to drive to uni, I would blast that CD in my car and scream her music all the way to and from uni. And I hadn't listened to her music in years, to be honest. I've obviously, now that her concert is coming in February, which I'm dying to go to. Speaking of which, was I able to get tickets? No, I stayed online. I even tried for one of my clients, who I know is a massive Taylor Swift fan as well. I was trying to log on for her to try and get tickets for her. I'm like, we're messaging each other on Instagram. And I just could not get through. But thankfully, my father-in-law has a corporate box at the MCG, so he can use it all year round because he has it for the year. And thank God, he's like, obviously we'll have it for the Taylor Swift concert, and the box is in front of the stage as well, which is good. So I got a ticket through that, thank God, because I was not able to get through to get a ticket, and that was highly stressful. I didn't sleep for that week I didn't sleep for a week because we weren't sure whether his corporate box would be in front of the stage or not, and it was, thankfully. So, but I still tried to get on to get tickets for others because, there's a lot of Swifties that missed out. But so getting back into her music, I am in such a good routine with my nutrition now and exercising, and then after work, I chill out now. Never actually really done that, where I just chill out and watch TV and like put on Friends and watch a few episodes. Like, never used to do that. I even do yoga now after work. And yeah, I just feel so much happier and more energized and feeling really good. And I'm so glad I just took that step away for a little while to get, the fun parts of me back, which I had lost for a long time. But yes, okay, so what else has been happening with me? I think that's pretty much it. I have been a very big slack ass when it comes to surfing. I bought a new board, a bigger board, because I realized I'm just not getting anywhere with my current board. So I bought a bigger board and I haven't used it yet. But this Sunday, so today's the 21st, on the 23rd, I'm going out with a friend. I'm going to take my board. But man, it's so cold. I'm like, oof, should I go? Should I not? I've got booties now and I've got gloves that I can wear in the water as well, thank God. So that should really help. But I'm looking forward to going back out as well with her. It's going to be so much fun. I've got an 8'6" or 8'4" board, I think. Can't remember which one. So yeah, I'll take that out. It should be good fun. All right, so today's episode is going to be on intermittent fasting and whether you should do intermittent fasting for weight loss. But first, don't think I didn't forget about my nutrition recommendation for the week. I should never sing. Now, it is a meal that I've had this week for lunch, and it has been thebomb.com. Oh, so good. So it is a sushi roll. Oh my gosh. If you've been my client, I guarantee I've given it to you as a recipe because it's just so delicious. So what it is obviously rice. You can't have sushi without rice. So sushi, oh my God. So rice, grilled chicken in teriyaki sauce, but you can also do salmon for more of a sushi sort of feel. Avocado, and then you got your veggies, so spinach, grated carrot, cucumber, and then I put coriander, sesame seeds, and sriracha mayo on top, and then I get like a nori sheet and crush that up, and then I just like mix that in, and so good. Did I say avocado? Because there's avocado in it too. I think I did say it, but yeah. Coriander isn't really like a sushi herb, but I just had it in my fridge and I thought, well, I better use it instead of throwing it away, and it's really wilted and going off. But here I am still putting it in my sushi bowl because YOLO, if it doesn't kill me, it makes me stronger. No, I'm joking. All right, let me stop waffling on. Try that recipe. It is so good, so delicious, and you get a really good balance of nutrition in that meal. So you get chicken for protein, you have your rice for your carbs, you got avo and sriracha mayo with your fats, got a whole bunch of veg, you even got herbs and sesame seeds just to add some variety in and help improve the overall nutrition. And when you have that little bit more variety with seeds and herbs, that really helps with your gut health too, to get different types of plants in. So that is it. Let's get into the episode. So intermittent fasting. Firstly, what is it? I'm sure you've all heard of intermittent fasting. I'm sure you probably tried it. But if you have been living under a rock and you haven't done it, it is commonly defined as eating all of your meals within a certain period of time and avoiding eating in the hours outside of that period. So commonly people use a 16-8 like ratio type thing of eating. So pretty much that means not having any food or calorie containing beverages for 16 hours, most of which you'd be sleeping, and then eating all of your meals in an 8-hour time period. So for example, this could be having your first meal at 10 a.m. and then your last meal at 6 p.m. and really can be just adjusted to suit your lifestyle. So that is one type of fasting. There are a few different types of fasting which most people aren't aware of. It's not just skipping breakfast. There are different types of fasting. So there's also called an alternate day fasting, where you eat a normal diet one day and either completely fast or have one small meal less than 500 calories the next day. That is another type. And then there's 5-2 fasting, where you eat a normal diet 5 days of the week and then fast 2 days of the week. And then there is daily time restricted fasting, which is the main one people know, and that is that 8-hour eating window. So most commonly what I see when people do the daily time restricted feeding would be people usually having their lunch, around midday, noon, and then eating their last meal or last thing by 8 p.m. So they're the different types of fasting. Now, there are people who shouldn't fast. So I think it's important to cover that, because if this falls in your category, then you can just switch this podcast off, go about your day, and know that fasting is not for you. So if you're an individual who has type 1 diabetes, an eating disorder, you're pregnant, breastfeeding, you're underweight, have type 2 diabetes and taking insulin, or have hypoglycemic conditions, fasting is not for you. So if you work out early in the morning, fasting also is most likely not to be suited for you as well. But this is up to the individual and the type of exercise you're doing. Like if you're getting up and doing a yoga session, you'd probably be okay. But if you're going to the gym and smashing out deadlifts and squats and really big heavy weight sessions, I probably wouldn't recommend it for you. So if you do work out earlier, sometimes I recommend my clients to have something before they work out, but also after they work out, I usually recommend trying to refuel as quickly as possible after the workout. So yeah, that is the people who I wouldn't recommend fasting for. Now, why do people fast? Well, most of the time when you are doing something like the time-restricted feeding, most people skip breakfast. So when you skip breakfast, you are cutting an entire meal out of your diet. So that can be a really easy way to get into a calorie deficit for weight loss. So remember, when it comes to weight loss, the calorie deficit is key. No matter how you get to that calorie deficit, you will see results and you'll see change. But it's also important to know that the way that you do it can either cause more harm or make weight loss more challenging. Now, when it comes to my clients, intermittent fasting is not something I recommend or try to get my clients to do, just because I would prefer them, especially if they're already eating breakfast, to just continue eating breakfast and just learn calorie control throughout the day, rather than trying to change everything and be like, okay, you can skip breakfast, and then they're starving all day, and then they tend to end up really hungry by the time they get to lunch, and it can be likely that you will overeat or overeat later in the day because your body is trying to catch up. However, I also have clients that like to do intermittent fasting. They don't necessarily say they want to fast. What they're really saying is, I'm not hungry in the morning and I struggle to eat breakfast, so can we just skip breakfast and I'll just have my morning snack as my first meal or lunch as my first meal. And that is a different story because, everyone is different, and I'm not going to say everyone has to eat breakfast because not everyone has to eat breakfast. It's not necessary. And yeah, if you're the type of person that doesn't get hungry first thing in the morning, or it takes a little while for your metabolism to, get firing for the day, then I'm not going to force someone to eat breakfast. And this sort of just comes naturally to them. And it's not something we're trying to force or trying to adjust our body to. It's something that's already there for that client. Like, for example, I do have a few clients that would just wake up and they would get a barista made coffee, and then they probably wouldn't eat until like late morning or lunchtime, and that's what they'd always done, and that's what they're doing now, and it works for them, and they still see results, obviously, but we're just sort of tailoring it to them. Hey, this is a super quick interruption to tell you about my new program, the NBS Method. After working one-on-one with over 400 people on their weight loss journey, I have developed my own unique formula and method to help clients get from restriction, binge and emotional eating, self-sabotaging behavior, and having no idea what actually works for weight loss, to feeling in control, confident, knowing how to deal with their triggers, becoming a more mindful eater, knowing how to eat for fat loss, and finally seeing the weight loss results that they're after. This 5-month nutrition coaching program will show you how to lose weight in a sustainable way, stop overeating, reduce binge and emotional eating, and finally feeling in control over your eating rather than food having control over you. Within the first few weeks, you'll start to feel lighter, healthier, more confident, and energized. You'll be in control over how much you're eating, you'll understand your triggers for emotional and binge eating, and you've learned the necessary steps to maintain your new healthy lifestyle. I'm so confident that you will gain so much value out of this program, and by the end of the 5 months, you will know exactly what you need to do moving forward to continue to see the results you're after or maintain your weight loss results. If this is exactly what you need right now, head to the link in the show notes to book your no obligation phone call to see if it's the right fit for you. Okay, let's get back into the episode. Now, there are also some clients I have who I put in some sort of time window when it comes to their eating for particular reasons. So if I have a client that really struggles with late night eating, I will set a time limit for them to stop eating, and that's when they cannot eat after that time. So it's not necessarily like I am like restricting their eating. It's more so just setting a boundary for them to stop eating if that's something they struggle with. So for example, if they want to sit down by the couch and have, chips while watching TV, for example, I'd be like, all right, by 8:30, you've had to have your dinner, and, if you have a dessert, that has to be done by 8:30 and you cannot eat after 8:30. So that is like one type of recommendation I would have for a client if I did. And that is, I suppose, starting their fasting window, if you call it that, but it's not for the purpose of fasting. Now, if you are one that would like to try fasting, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. So, of course, you need to drink plenty of water. And technically, when it comes to fasting, you aren't meant to have any calories in that period. Now, I suppose it really depends on your reason for fasting. If it's to help yourself get into a calorie deficit and make it easier for yourself, then I wouldn't necessarily stress about the fasting as such if you like to have a coffee in the morning. Maybe just make your first meal a bit later in the day. I'd also think about what eating window works best for you. So if you start work at 6 a.m., and then you're not home till like 2, 3, maybe having your eating window starting at like midday is going to be too late for you, because that's 6 hours you're up and about doing things without eating. Maybe your eating window can start at 10 instead, and then you can eat for the 8 hours following that. And that sort of gives you to about 6 o'clock to finish your dinner. When we look at breaking our fast, we do want to have a protein-rich meal, which is pretty much what I tell my clients when they wake up and have their breakfast, is make sure they've got protein in their breakfast. So things like eggs or Greek yogurt or a protein powder. It's a really good way to start your day, and to start your day off right, and not with like a high increase in your blood sugar levels and then come crashing down if you have to have something like a croissant, for example. Whereas something with protein is going to have nice steady blood sugar levels and keep us full and satisfied throughout the day. Really is starting our day right. So what are some examples? Like a protein rich smoothie, so protein powder, banana berries, milk, whatever sort of suits you. Yogurt, granola and berries would be another one. If you're a vegetarian, you can do like a tofu scramble. And of course, eggs on toast, like a frittata, or an omelette or something like that. At the moment, what I'm doing for breakfast is hard-boiled eggs on toast, which is delicious. So when we do fast, and if you do fast, I wouldn't want you to fast and then go on an absolute bender and eat everything you can in the 8-hour eating window, right? That's not really the point of it if you're doing it for weight loss. So don't start your eating window by eating like greasy processed meals or high sugar treats. It really can, like I said, like shock the body and really cause that high rise in your blood sugar levels, and then a crash, and your cravings start to increase and you end up with an upset stomach, all that fun stuff. And I also would not recommend fasting for a day. I would definitely not recommend going 24 hours without a meal, unless you're under some sort of medical supervision to do it. But in general, I just wouldn't recommend it. Now, they're the things I wanted to let you know. Firstly, about like who should be fasting, how to do it, why people do it. So I did want to give more of my opinion, and that is that, I suppose I mentioned it before as well, but I really don't recommend fasting for most of my clients unless they are already kind of doing it before they see me and it feels good for them to not eat. I don't want them force feeding themselves at 7 a.m. just because I'm telling them to. I'd rather them wait for their natural hunger cues to kick in and then eat. So it is important to remember that this isn't a magic pill sort of thing or magic diet that's going to make you see incredible results. At the end of the day, you have to be in a calorie deficit to see weight loss results. So just say you skip breakfast, you might be skipping out on like 400 calories for your breakfast, for example. But then if you go out for dinner and have a few drinks, you've already eaten that to 400 calories plus more back than if you just had your normal dinner and, have water at home, for example. So yeah, you really got to be mindful still of the calorie intake that you're having and making sure that you are staying in your calorie deficit with fasting to be able to see results. When I work with my clients, how do I explain it? So if I give them breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, I'll let them know how many calories are in each meal so that they know they're going to stay within their calorie deficit. And if they are going out for brekkie or going out for lunch, they sort of know how many calories they have to work with to still be able to see results and enjoy their life at the same time. And that prevents the stress of having to do something like fasting or cutting out food groups because it's all naturally balanced for them. So that's it for this episode, short and sweet. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, got something out of it. If you liked it, please let me know. If you're interested in working with me, I'm taking on a couple of new clients at the moment, and I'll leave all the links to book in with me in the show notes if you're interested. Anyway, have a lovely week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.